Go Ford for your next truck or SUV and find an easier way to buy with Woodhouse Ford today and experience the convenience of buying with Woodhouse Ford. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT plus 3.9% APR for 60 months with approved credit. $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Expires 1/02/2024.
On my Area 51 line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that. An earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military. I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharged.
I started getting...
Well, this was certainly interesting. We are now on a backup system, everybody. A backup system. And that one caller that I had on the air... I guess we were about in the middle of his transmission, his telephone call, which was one of the strangest ones I've ever had. And the entire transmitting system by satellite went down here, and we were notified we were off the air. And it would appear to be from this end and some sort of massive transmit failure. So we are now using a backup system to be on the air. And not that I would normally believe this kind of thing, mind you, but I can't help but wonder if somebody zapped us in some way. We'll find out. East of the...
From ET Connections on YouTube and mountain-gate.com.
And you're listening to the Alien Strand Podcast with Donald Ledesma.
Catch us on YouTube and hit like and subscribe. We'll see you there.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Desma, and welcome to another show today. So we are pushing number 38, and on Alien Strand, here on Spreaker, it's just growing and growing and growing. I believe we have about 11,200 downloads already. So, and I'm glad. I'm happy, and I thank you guys for listening to the show. But before we get going, I just want to welcome you guys to Alien Strand Podcast. You can listen to us there, or check us out on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and alienstrand.com. So we have that alienstrand.com going up there, and I'm posting new stuff every week. So about once a week, I'll post some new stuff on there. So if you have a chance, go to alienstrand.com, check that out. Check out all the nice pictures and little stories there, and even a few of the older podcasts are on there. I haven't updated all the new ones yet, but you can still catch them here. Also, if you have a chance, download the Alien Strand podcast application on your Google Play. So if you have an Android or any Android device, such as a tablet or possibly a laptop on a Droid, you can download the Alien Strand app. And from there, you can actually catch the shows, and it'll give you a number when the new show has come up. And if you go down to the player while it's playing, at the very bottom, you click the picture, and the whole player will open up, and you'll see a little comment section on the bottom right, little square. Click that, and you can comment on these actual podcasts. So, and I'll interact with you guys if you can. I really do appreciate any feedback I get. And there's also a follow. So if there's a little heart there on top, you can actually catch us on Spotify, iTunes. You can catch us on iHeartRadio. We have about 21 platforms that you can hear us on. And again, I just want to thank you guys for listening to the show. And if you ever want to be on the show, or you know anybody that wants to be on the show, anything science related, UFO, aliens, Bigfoot, interdimensional, anything out there, give me a call. You can call me at 361-245-8000. Again, that's 361-245-8000. You can actually call me, or you could text me on that number, and I'll get back with you. You know what I mean? It's no biggie, and I'll get you on the show as soon as I can. So, I had a past guest in the past, and I'm going to bring him up again. His name was Chris Wax. I had him on episode number 35. So if you have a chance, go check out his movie. He's the director of the movie Case 347. And a pretty good alien movie. I loved it. If you have a chance, go download it. Check it out while you guys are at home. Also, I'm going to have a new guest coming up here in about a week and a half. His name is Daniel Cross, and he wrote a book called Bent Heavens. So he's like a sci-fi writer. Did the book The Shape of Water, helped on that one. So I'm very excited to have him on the show. I've been reading his book, really, really good book. If you have a chance, download it. I believe it's on Amazon, or go to danielcross.com. You can check it out there. It's Kraus. So it's danielcross.com. Go check that out if you have a chance. So, like I said, you can actually catch us on Facebook. I post a lot of UFOs, a lot of good stuff on there, and it's just for you. It's an FYI, so you can interact with me and just to see what you think, if it's true or it's not true, or do you know something about it, or is it a hoax? You can actually bring it up on the conversation, and let's have a nice, decent conversation about it. We're all respectful in that sense. As far as giving our intelligent answer, or whatever we think it is. Do the best you can. Hey, it's all open for you guys, and I do it for an FYI for you, so you can get what's going on in the actual video or story. So if you checked out my Facebook, you'll see that I've been posting a lot of Bigfoot stuff there, which I really enjoy the Bigfoot. And I put that on the alienstrand.com. So I actually put a recent one of this man that he did an actual sculpture of the Bigfoot that he actually, I believe, I saw the video a little while ago, that he actually shot and killed a Bigfoot about 47 years ago. So with that skeleton, he actually got the measurements of it before he buried it. That's just what he says. And he made the replica that you see there on the Facebook page. So if you can go to Alien Strand, go check out the pictures I posted on there, and I will do a follow-up pictures of how he put it together and how he built it. I do have all the photos of that, so I'm going to be getting that out too. So and I did post one. It's about these the Mayan. Those like artifacts that they found there, about maybe 14 pictures there. Check those out, see what you guys think. Let's interact on them. You know, that one actually got about 40,000 views on there, and I really do appreciate that. You know, share it as much as you can, and you know, let's just let's talk about these things. You know, I love listening to y'all's guys' comments. You know, I interact with you guys as well on Alien Strand. You know, I do it myself. So and Alien Strand will interact with you back and forth, and we'll talk about it. So I have a lot of good friends out there that have been interacting with me, and I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for sharing it out there. As a matter of fact, I got the new T-shirt design out. Be looking out, because last year when I started this, I started giving away a lot of T-shirts to whoever was sharing my page. So I'm going to do that again with the new design of the shirt. So I'll be watching you guys, so I know who's been shared, who hasn't. Right now, I'm just doing it in the USA, unfortunately. So I'll be sending some shirts out here pretty soon. So I wanted to get into this story, right? And it got my attention. You know, several months back, I ran into it, and I started reading up on it. And this story was hard to find. I mean, I went through, I don't know how many pages and searches and search engines and looking for this story. And I've talked about this before. Sometimes these stories will get out just to a certain person or somebody that investigated it, and then it'll just drop out, right? And not because it was a hoax or it just wasn't true. It's just that a lot of people want to stay private, right? So, and you can, you know, I can respect that, you know, and that's why a lot of these stories are hard to find. So this story got my attention because of the story and the investigator in this story. So this is episode number 38. This is about Kristina Florence abduction, right? This happened about 1974. And Kristina was about 17 at the time. She was a choreographer, you know, that's what she liked to do. She liked to dance and stuff. But on this episode, or this incident actually, her mother, her sister, and her were taking a trip. And they were going back towards San Francisco. So they were going through the Mojave Desert there. And they were just starting to have a little bit of car problems, you know. I guess it was overheating. I don't know. It doesn't say exactly. But they decided to pull over, right? Because they wanted to see if maybe they can work on the car, or just pull over, let it rest for a little bit, because it's a long drive, especially in the Mojave Desert. And it doesn't give me an exact date, so I don't know exactly which month this happened in. It could have been in the summer. So they took the first exit, right, off the highway. And I kind of pinpointed a little bit. It was probably off Highway 15, and they were going like northwest towards San Francisco. And I believe there's a Mojave State Park in that area. I'm sure they had already passed that up and were going towards the desert. So they arrived at this park, right? And Kristina's sister got out, and she ran behind the car, and she shouted, "Oh my God! Come here quick!" You know, they were kind of in shock at that just second, because she said that. So they ran to the back of the car, right? The next thing she remembers consciously is they were laying on a blanket in the middle of the park, like if they were taking a nap. So this is going to be some missing time, because this story has it, just like a lot of the other abductions, right? She said our mom was not around. And the next thing she remembers is that all three of them were leaving in the car and they were driving like hell. How long they were at that park, I don't know. But they were there for a bit, which makes me wonder, the car must have cooled off enough for them to jump in the car and just take off. She said they never talked about it afterwards. Until one day her sister called her and began to remember the incident. In other words, it kept on reoccurring to her over and over, like something happened. Just like the Betty and Barney Hill. They didn't go under hypnosis or anything, but they said little memories were coming back to them little by little. And they're remembering things. So they both compared their stories, right? And noticed that they had missing time. And her sister knew about this gentleman. His name was Bud Hopkins. And they decided to call him. A lot of times people, they just, when they go through these things, the first thing they think of is like, we need to talk about it to somebody, or we need to say something. And a lot of people just don't say nothing. But they decided to research it a little bit because they both had the same memories, right? So Elliot Bud Hopkins, he's a ufologist, right? He was born in June 15th, 1931, and he passed away on August 21st, 2011. But this happened in 1974. So his interests were a lot in alien abductions, right? And that's why she knew about it, because she read that he had these articles. Because he did a publication about missing time. And later in his life, he ends up doing, he wrote a book called The Intruders. Very, very good book. It's a very popular book. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are in ufology have heard of this book. And Mr. Bud Hopkins, actually, he was an investigator in one of my past podcasts on the Manhattan Abduction. That's number 13. If you have a chance, go listen to that episode. Listen to that story. It will blow you away. So let's get back to the story. So she decided to take the advice and decided to do hypnosis with Mr. Hopkins, right? Hoping to get more out of the story. So this is what she recalls under hypnosis. This is the information that they got out of her, right? She says she saw her sister get out of the car, right? And look up. She says she saw something floating above the car. And that's why they looked up. I don't know what kind of craft. It doesn't explain it in this in the investigating that I was doing, but apparently it was a craft. She says she was so scared, she was frightened. She's under hypnosis now. I'm telling you what she's saying. She didn't know what it was. She says she tried starting the car, but it wouldn't start. How many stories have we heard of like that? She says the next memory she has, she's laying on a table. And she saw some strange figures around her. She thought they were people at first. But later on, she figures out that they are actually alien grays. She drew a picture of it, and I posted it on the flyer. This is by her hand that she drew a picture of. I'll repost it on Facebook on Alien Strand so that way you can see what she drew. So she says that all of a sudden she saw a screen come down. She says it was like the size of a large television. You know, back then they didn't have no flat screen TVs. They don't have what we have now. It's just like huge box TVs, right? 1974.
How long was Neil Armstrong actually on the moon? When did Europe start speaking English? Did Marco Polo really go to China? CuriosityStream is the streaming service for all things history, plus science, wildlife, and more. What's the real story behind the Mona Lisa? We've got that. What caused the collapse of Rome? We know. Where did we find mankind's earliest ancestor? Come find out. For the holidays, give the gift of curiosity with 25% off gift cards for your curious cohorts. It's holiday shopping season at curiositystream.com/gift.
She says that that screen was paper thin. And it was moving around the table. She says, and it had nothing attached to it, like no arm or no nothing. It was just almost floating around her. She says, I could see 3D shapes of my skull in that screen. And she said, I could see shapes of my body on that screen in 3D. She said, and it was flashing. It was taking pictures of me. And the room that she was in, she said it was like a huge spherical room covered in dials. Like the dials from the television. She goes, there was no space between any of the dials. In other words, it was wall-to-wall dials. I mean, she could have saw dials, but it could have been an actual design, or it could have been dials. We don't know that yet. She said that she felt like they were attaching almost like rubber pants to her with hoses and things attached to it, like they were extracting something from her. Remember, she's terrified. She's scared. She's talking about this story under hypnosis. She said then they left the room. And when she was lying there, all she could worry about was her sister, right? She kept on saying, where's my sister? Where's my sister? And she said that someone told her, she's okay. She's all right. I don't know if they verbally said this or they said it telepathically. It's a possibility. She says, and then the last thing she remembers under hypnosis was that she was back on the grass. You know, and Bob's, Mr. Hopkins, his theory on this incident, because apparently he recorded her, right? He recorded all the information from her. And not just her, a lot of other people. But in this case, he says, quote, unfortunately, the focus becomes reproductively. And the interest seems to have to do with taking sperm and ova samples. And the whole central focus of the physical part of it seems to deal with the idea of an ongoing genetic experiment. And these abductees are involuntary victims of specimen in this ongoing experiment. These are his words. And now you know why he wrote The Intruders, and he did publications on a lot of these abductions and abductees that went to him, right? You know, and I thank him for that, you know, for doing that. Because these people, you know, these UFO investigators, they take everything to heart. And they write everything down and they record everything. Because just like you and me, we want answers, right? And we're trying to figure out why. Why are these things happening to abductees? These people. Lost memories. Lost time. Why is it lost time? You know, in a lot of my podcasts that when I talk about abductees, they take them in space. And they're up there. And then they bring them back. Sometimes a day. Sometimes a couple of days later. Sometimes a week. You know, and I've done podcasts on the Greys, and my new recent one that I talked about the Greys, it's like almost like a part 2 to that podcast. Because I wanted to talk about the good and the bad Greys, right? I mean, they're out there. And not all of these beings are going to be Greys. But these investigators and these stories, they keep taking all this information down, writing it all down for us to investigate ourselves and bring these stories back. And that's what I try to do here at Alien Strand. I bring these stories back, older stories, because they're documented down. And it gives me more of a view of putting these pieces together on how or what these things are and what they're about. And why? That's the big question. Why? And I read a little bit more of Mr. Matthews' stuff there on Wikipedia. Go check that out. You know, he believed in these extraterrestrial abductions and what they were about, and how they were doing it to reproduce and to make clones and to only take women most of the time because they wanted the eggs, but they still take the men too. Because these beings have no reproductive organs. You know, did they take her eggs in this story? And her sister? It doesn't say anything about the mother, though. I don't know if the mother was part of that or not, but in the beginning of the story, you notice that her mother, they don't talk about it. So I think her mother was a part of that abduction as well. She probably just didn't want to put herself out there. You know, a lot of people have these professional careers that they don't want to put themselves out there to jeopardize it, especially in 1974, the 70s, and the 60s, in the 80s, in the 90s. I believe that people didn't start grasping the alien abduction era, the believing in UFOs, the believing in aliens, believing in the unknown until the 2000s. That's how it kind of looks like to me. Because I didn't start seeing a lot of these stories coming out. They were coming out before, but they're doubling up, they're tripling up on these stories now. Getting the information out there to you. So you can be, you know, a little bit knowledgeable about what had happened. And I'll post the links up to where I found this information. And I'll post the pictures the picture that she drew. I think there's only one. I barely found one photo of her. So I think these people just told their story to Mr. Hopkins and allowed him just to say so much. But if you have a chance, dig deeper. Go to Mr. Hopkins' website. I believe he's got one there. Check it out on Wikipedia. You'll be able to. I'll find the link and I'll go ahead and throw it on this website, on this podcast. And maybe he talks about it a little bit more in depth. I didn't find it. But like I said, maybe these people just wanted to remain a little more just covered up a little bit. They wanted people to know about it, but not too much in depth. They didn't want to get their names out there, reputation possibly. Their daughter was a choreographer. Come on. You know, who knows what people would have thought in 1974. You know, but it's a hell of a story. I thought it was very interesting. And I thought I should share it with you guys. If you haven't heard it before, well, you're hearing it now. It's a good story. But if you can, guys, you know, go out there, do some investigating yourselves if you can, a little bit. If not, I'll try to get a lot of these stories out to you. I post a lot of the links up there for you guys. You guys can do a little investigating too. You know, it's pretty simple, actually. And then you get a little bit more detailed information. A lot of my podcasts, I don't get to put too much in it because I try to keep it under, 40 minutes. I don't want to bore people. So, but again, it's the stories are out there. Go back to a lot of my podcasts. You can start backwards if you like. A lot of my abductions are in there. And like I said, what got me was Mr. Hopkins. And because he was in one of my other stories that I put out here on this podcast. Everything comes together like a piece of the puzzle. I've always talked about that. The more and more I learn, the more and more information I want to give to you guys. And then you could just give it to somebody else when somebody, asks you a question. You'll know the answer. Because before I put these stories out, I dig and I dig. I want to make sure that you guys are getting correct information. At least most of it. And if you know of one that's been a hoax, hey, call me. Let me know. I'll be sure to correct it and correct myself. But if you guys can, keep your eyes in the sky. Keep your cameras ready. Get some photos of these nice UFOs out there. You can go see my friend, Cindy, Sky Visions. She's got some really nice photos there of the clouds, and she catches a lot of anomalies out there. You can go to my friend Anibal and Jody, Extraterrestrial and Strange Happenings group. Great group of people. Real solid. As of Sky Visions. Go check out a couple of my past podcast guests as well. Mr. John McGavick. You have my friends from ET Connections. Go check them out too. Here in Alien Strand, I talk about a lot of different things and different subjects. I try to keep it in the alien area, yes. But I like to bring in different things that you didn't know about. And things that I've always asked about, especially always being intrigued into looking at UFOs and watching UFO videos and actually seeing them myself. And I'm going to get another podcast going. I actually want to do one on Bigfoot. I'm going to get one out there. But I want to get a guest on my show. I'd rather have somebody that has actually seen one. I mean, because you can have all the knowledge of everything in the world, book smart on everything, but to actually see one and talk about it, that's what I want to hear. Just like these stories I put out. They're visually and they're documented. Of course, they're older stories, hard to find these people, but I'm going to tell these stories to you guys so we can all talk about it. But I just want to thank you guys for listening to Alien Strand. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And if you can, share Alien Strand. Share it on Facebook. Share the app. Alien Strand Podcast app. Download it. You know, if I get over 100 downloads, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go live. I don't have as many to go live yet. But if I can get at least 100 downloads on that app, I'll go live, and that way we can interact all together. Be great. I'll do a live podcast. But you guys be safe out there. Thank you guys for tuning in and downloading. Go to Alien Strand. They're on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and alienstrand.com. Go check us out there. Give us a like. Share with your friends. And until then, you guys have yourselves a good day, a good evening, and a good night.
Hi, this is Kelly Green with Realty Executives, Coastal Bend, and Corpus Christi, Texas. And you're listening to the Alien Strand podcast with Donald Ledesma. Buying or selling, visit me at kellygreenrealtor.com or visit me on my Facebook page, Kelly Green Realtor. See you there.
All aboard for your chance to win $1,000 every week until December 28th. That's right, $1,000 cash just in time for the holidays. To hop on board, just head to churchillmortgage.com and punch your ticket to the Churchill Express giveaway. Visit churchillmortgage.com for your chance to win big.
This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.